Bismillah. Welcome back, Zoo Crew. Lots to discuss today, so let's just dive right in, right? So I'm sure most of you or some of you have heard this quote that fortune favors the bold. And essentially, what this means is if you want good things in life, you need to be taking action, right? So I guess it was about 2 weeks ago. I had my interview at Civic Motors. I thought it went really well. And then they told me, yeah, GM will reach out to set up your second interview, right? So I had been waiting and just wondering, like, what's going on. And really, I just got in my own head and just started overthinking. And then, I'd been debating about reaching out for the last maybe week, maybe few days. But then I was like, no, I don't want to come across as desperate, or I don't want to rush into this or any of these kind of just thoughts, right? So today I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Let me just call them. So I called, I spoke to the sales manager. And I was like, hey, look, I'm just wondering what's going on. Did you guys end up going in a different direction? Did you hire somebody else? Or what's going on, And I get end of the month is a busy time for car sales. So I wanted to give them some time. And he was like, oh no, we've just been pretty busy, and GM will reach out soon. So then I told him, I was like, look, listen, I'm supposed to move on the 15th, and I'm supposed to start at Prio on the 10th. So I need to figure out if you guys are giving me this job or not, because then I need to plan my life accordingly, right? And initially this was one of the mental blocks I had in my head, because I was like, oh, I shouldn't just be saying this. But then on the flip side, it's I'm showing to them that I'm proactive and I'm trying to plan my life out. And he was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize. And no, we didn't hire anybody yet, so how about you just come in on Monday at 11, and you can come see me, and we'll go and talk with the GM. So I was like, all right, cool, bet. So had I just done this a week ago, I would have already had the interview, and I would have already known what I'm gonna be doing. So, and I'm realizing a lot of the kind of issues in my life come from me avoiding simple things like this, because I'll just overthink it and then get overwhelmed. And in reality, it took maybe 2 minutes to make the phone call, right? Same thing, I brought a bunch of my nice shoes with me to this Airbnb. And then literally for the last 3 weeks, I'm okay, I need to put them back in the boxes and drop them back off at my parents' home. And I kept delaying it, and in my head thinking oh, it's gonna take an hour or two to do this. Literally it took 20 minutes to do. So I'm realizing now that I'll avoid dealing with my own shit because my sense of time is so off that I can't estimate correctly how long something will take to do. And then the more I delay it, the more overwhelming it becomes, right? And then this is another reason why I'll go out of my way to help other people, because then I feel some sense of accomplishment by helping other people, and then I don't feel so bad or guilty about not dealing with my own issues and problems. You know what I mean? So, and I guess this is a good segue into this second point, being you cannot trust your mind, because if you're an overly optimistic person, you'll think your life is going much better than it actually is. And the flip side is also true. So if you're just a pessimistic person, you will think your life is going much worse than it actually is, right? And whether you're optimistic or pessimistic, you will frame all of your thoughts in that light, right? So you can't necessarily always trust your brain, because your past experiences shape how you see the world, right? And this becomes a lens that you view the world in, whether you're optimistic or pessimistic. And what I've realized is the best way to kind of overcome this is, first of all, to realize that you are not your thoughts. You're a person having these thoughts. So this is something I described in a previous video with this whole metaphor of the blue sky. But then it's the same thing with problems, right? A lot of people will have some kind of a problem, or they'll make some kind of a mistake, and then they attach their self-worth to that problem or mistake, right? And this is when you get spirals going, and you get caught in these loops of overthinking, and you need to detach yourself from the problem, right? Because anything could happen, and that doesn't change who you are as a person, right? You're going to make mistakes. That's just a part of life. So you need to learn how to just detach yourself or create like distance between you and the problem. And really, this is why journaling is so powerful, because you're removing all the thoughts from your head and dumping them into like a notebook or your like computer or wherever you journal, right? And like that's why they call it a brain dump, because you're literally now creating mental space for you to actually look at your thoughts, right? And a lot of the times we'll have these thoughts, and as long as they're in our head, we're either going to overthink about it and then we're going to stress and then create future problems, or be worried about problems in the future that don't even exist because we're like we're trying to protect ourselves, right? And like all of our mental bandwidth is now getting spent in thinking about this thing. And if you overthink, you'll know that it's very hard to shut your brain off once it starts thinking about something, right? So when you now write down your thoughts or whatever is in your mind, now you can go and read it, and then it becomes easier to like take a step back and remove yourself from the problem, right? Or detach from the problem, and then you can understand that, okay, I'm a person who's having this thought, right? So it's like I'm like XYZ thing caused me to feel anxious. It's not that I'm an anxious person, right? Or I made this mistake. It's not that I'm a failure, etc., right? So it's very important to journal, especially with the way the world is now. Like everyone's being fed all kinds of propaganda, and like all of these apps, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, etc., they're designed to capture your attention, right? And the problem with short form content is you're not, it's so like when you read a book from start to finish, you're going on a journey with the author, right? So you're seeing their whole thought process and the arguments they're making before they get to the conclusion. Whereas with short form content, you're literally just getting the conclusion. And now when you add in like all of these metrics, so if you see a post with like 50,000 likes, automatically you're going to think that, oh, this is like good information or this is a good post. And then let's say you're like, you read the comments, right? Now everyone's already pre-framed to like agree with this thought. And this is part of the reason why people can't think critically anymore or independently, right? People have lost the ability to think. People have lost the ability to hold two truths in their mind at the same time. And this even spills into every other realm of life, right? Because let's say like if you're talking about a relationship and you're telling somebody, oh, like I love you. So in that case, it's about understanding, but so like it's not about finding somebody who is like thinking on the same wavelength as you, or you guys automatically like understand everything about each other. It's about a willingness to understand more about the person, right? I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but it's like, let's say I like One Piece. So now somebody choosing to watch One Piece with me, they're trying to understand why I like One Piece, right? And again, like I'm not sure if I'm explaining this properly, but the whole point I'm making is there has to be this willingness or desire to grow together, but also be willing to like agree to disagree, right? And just like your whole goal is to try and understand things from the other person's point of view, right? So, and you don't necessarily have to even like be interested in it, right? It's like, let's say I like flowers, so now I stop and I'm looking at this flower, and now I'm in my head being like, oh shit, like I'm being annoying or whatever. And then the other person could just be like, oh, well, what kind of flower is this? And then it's not even that they care about the flower, it's just that they want to understand me better, right? They want to understand why I'm into flowers, right? And I'm using this as an example. So again, this is where journaling will come very handy, because now you can remove the thoughts from your mind and detach yourself from them and just view your thoughts, right? And learning how to think is gonna be what sets people apart in this new world, especially because people rely so much on AI and they're not realizing that AI, if you're letting it do the thinking for you, you're gonna get to false conclusions, right? Because first of all, and like outside of this, AI is not your therapist. Because I saw this post the other day where essentially it reaffirms what I had said before. Like, AI is designed to keep you talking to it. It wants to keep your attention, and it's always going to agree with you, right? So this person told AI, like, oh, I cheated on my boyfriend. And now the AI is like telling them, oh yeah, like you made the right decision, etc. Even though all humans know morally cheating is wrong. You shouldn't be cheating on somebody, right? So this is like the dark side of AI. And again, this is why we're seeing so many issues in the world, because people have just outsourced their thinking to other people, right? So all in all, like, it's fucked up times. And I suspect things are only going to get worse between like social media just getting people addicted to scrolling and ruining their memory and attention span, and then as well as like AI, right? Because even with social media, like, you're literally just getting the hot take at the end, or like somebody saying something like outlandish and it's just rage bait because they want to hook you, right? And all this does is ruin your brain and your ability to think and your ability to remember things, you know? So outside of this, though, there was another point. Yeah, so I was at my parents' house today just because like I went for Jummah prayer at Masjid Bilal, and then I was there and they're having this like party at the house right now. And then I was thinking, I was like, because like whenever they have a party, like my mom gets very fucking anxious. And I don't know why she feels the need to keep hosting parties, especially in the house, because it just creates so much extra stress for everybody in the house. So I realized, like, yeah, like it's not ideal for me to ever go back and live in that house, because it's just way too much going on at any time. And just like the way both of my parents are together, as much as like they want to be together, like they don't know how to communicate, and everything just turns into a fucking fight. And if I'm there, I become like the buffer, and it's like I can't absorb that shit anymore. So I messaged the Airbnb host and I was like, yo, like I need to extend for a little bit. But who knows, maybe I won't actually end up needing to extend, because I'll find out on Monday where I'm going in terms of work, right? Because if Civic Motors offers me the job, then I'm just going to sign the lease for 90 George and move there. And if not, I'm going to look for something closer to Prio, so probably in the Barhaven area, just so if I do end up applying to Barhaven Honda, realistically, I should do that. Or like I'm working at Prio, like I'm nearby that. And really, I need to be close to a gym, like 5-10 minutes away at the most, because right now, like, it's a fucking hassle. Like I spend 20 minutes driving to the gym, work out for 40 minutes, and then I drive back for 20 minutes. Like I'm spending the same amount of time in travel. So it's just like a not effective way to live, right? And yeah, I mean, all in all, it's like I'm making forward momentum, and I'm having all kinds of realizations about life and myself, I guess. And the final realization I had was that as much as I'm like disappointed with things ending, or like constantly trying to like find flaws in like Mina and be like, oh yeah, this would have never worked out, like realistically it should work out, or it should have worked out, given that she was pretty much everything I was looking for. And then I was just like, I got in my own head. I was overthinking and then looking for problems in the future, or like worried about future problems, right? So it ties into what I was saying about the journaling, because I would like think about something and be like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And it's like, how would I know if this is going to be a problem or not, right? Like we cross that bridge when we get to it. And then on the flip side, like, because my first girlfriend, like this girl was obsessed with me. And like, I pretty much like gave her the runaround. Like I would just like break up with her, and then like she'd start talking to somebody else, and I'd put my foot back in the middle, because like I didn't want her to be with somebody else. But at the same time, I didn't want to be with her either, right? So having somebody who is like just so like unconditionally like willing to love me, and probably loved me more than my own mom, like it was just unattractive, you know? It was just like, I don't want this. And it was just like, because you don't value things that are like you don't have to work for, right? And then at the same time, like if I have to compare both of them, like Mina is like 100 times smarter than most women that I've ever met, you know? And it's a scary thing because somebody who's like that smart or like as smart as me, you could say, like you can't get away with bullshit. And then at the same time, like it's hard to explain, you know? It's and like for me personally, I'd rather be with somebody who's actually smart because like if I was gonna have kids and like raise a family, I would rather be married to somebody smart instead of somebody stupid, you know? And like most of these alpha guys are like, no, you need to date somebody who's like not too smart or whatever because they're trying to like control the person. And it's like, yo, this is retarded. Like, why would you want to have kids with somebody who's stupid, you know? But yeah, point being that like having like this breakup happen made me kind of appreciate her more and like realize how much I did love her and like how much I do miss her, you know? But it is what it is. Like, I don't know if there's ever any coming back from this just because I crossed some lines again and I did shit I said I wasn't gonna do. And like at the same time, it's like if you truly love somebody, like you can't just give up on them and like have one misunderstanding or like one argument or something just unravel everything, you know? So, yeah, there's still a lot I need to process. There's still a lot I need to reflect on. But all in all, I'm kind of content with life right now. I'm not feeling anxious. I'm not spiraling. I'm not feeling depressed. I'm just keep going forward, you know? And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like it's in God's hands. So there's no point to like worry about it or stress about it. And I guess we'll end on this Japanese saying or quote where it's like one day, one life, right? So don't delay things for tomorrow. Don't be like, okay, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll relax tomorrow. I'll recover tomorrow, or I'll do X, Y, Z thing tomorrow because tomorrow is not promised. You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow, right? And you can't ever go back to the past. You only have today. So do one thing each day that moves you forward in life and try and have like a very full life in that sense, right? Like each day you should feel accomplished, like you did one thing that if you died today, like you're content with your life. You know what I mean? Anyways, Zoo Crew, that's it for today. Peace out.